22-page report published by two reputed scientists has shown evidence why the COVID-19 virus has no natural ancestors and has been manipulated in a lab. The researchers found unique fingerprints on the COVID-19 samples alongside amino acids, which in fact suggest that the virus has been changed deliberately. The researchers pointed reverse engineering and gain of methods used. To understand how this report is more than just a theory, we have experts with us who will help us decode this sensational story, which exposes China once again and the WHO's shoddy probe. Ambassador Ashok Sajunar, former diplomat, is joining us live. Padma Shri Dr. Mohsin Wali, cardiologist and physician, is also live with us. Pramit Pal Chaudhary, foreign affairs editor at Hindustan Times, is joining us live. And Joyita Basu, editor of the Sunday Guardian, is also live with us on the broadcast. Ambassadors, rather, let me begin with the medical perspective. Padma Shri Dr. Wali, let me start with you. Dr. Wali, this is yet another report and yet another investigation which is increasing questions, which is raising questions, of course, over the wet market theory and once again propagating the lab theory, sir. How do you view this latest investigation, and do you believe a proper and thorough probe is now needed to get to the bottom of where the origins were?
Yes, thank you again for making me part of this very distinguished panel of experts. I would say the medical perspective that the coronavirus symptoms, signs, manifestations, and response to vaccine, nothing fitted into a regular virus behavior. So it was erratic since beginning and is still erratic till now and showing colors. This is one. And long back, I read on the internet when I heard about this bat woman, Xi Jinping, at very initial write-up on the net, and very sensible write-up that the lab received the 3 samples in November, year before last, and the boss called to Xi Jinping, who was attending a conference in a nearby town. She received the call and she came to know 3 new samples of a new virus has come to the lab and your opinion is required. And her first reaction, unmistakably, and I'm very happy that it is still persisting on the net, was, could it have leaked from my lab? This answers every question. This answers every question. You go into the deeper details, you study the coronavirus spikes, you find the different alignment of the amino acids scientifically. You also find, I have given an example of temperature chart of a patient who very meticulously maintained for 30 days. It never fitted in a pattern which we were taught in third year medicine. So all these theories contradicted that pangolins, those beautiful pangolins creatures, came into talk. Everybody talked about pangolins. That is the intermediate host. We were told it doesn't spread by droplets initially. So this is a proof that WHO never understood this virus, never tried to undergo the literature of the SARS coronavirus in the previous pandemics. How did they spread? So from all the angles, there were manipulations. I'm very clearly saying that with full honors to WHO, that's a body which we respect as doctors, that it misguided the whole world many times during this episode. So then, now this present research was also tried to be shelved for almost 1 year, which we are talking today. Those 2 scientists, they have come out with this research. So summing up together, this is again to be divided into 2 parts. I'll finish after this. One, the academic part of the research on and over the virus. Engineer the virus, you do in the lab, but there is a BSL-4 safety precautions. The other side is accident, like a Chernobyl disaster, like Bhopal gas tragedy, like Fukushima disaster. So these, unless you split this into 2 separate things, we will never be able to get the answer. So it was an accident, accept it, accept it. Nobody will deliberately do it. Once it is accident, if you hide that accident, that is the part deliberately done. This is done visibly, deliberately, because there are reasons for China to do it. They were heading for a New Year celebration. Their ports were full of the commodities to be dispatched throughout the world as a New Year gift for January, and so many other reasons. They never wanted to stop outgoing travel, while incoming travel they stopped very selectively. So all these factors combined together, and China not coming up to the world and saying, sorry, let us do something together to heal the suffering humanity. That's the point I always make. So all this combined together, as a medical person, I can say that it is a Pandora's box. It has started opening, and many more new things will come up.
Okay, many more new things will come out, and these utterances by people within China and the Chinese administration, you believe, leads you to suspect their role. चोर की दाढ़ी में तिनका, एक हिंदी कहावत है, तो वो शायद आधारित है इस वक्त चाइना पे. But let me quickly get in Ambassador Sajjanar now. Ambassador Sajjanar, are you in agreement with Dr. Wali that there is a lot of evidence now and a lot of reports, a lot of investigation that seems to be suggesting that it was a virus which originated from a lab? There is perhaps reason to believe that China and WHO were found wanting in their initial reactions. A, do you agree with that? And B, Ambassador Sajjanar, if you do, then what should be done by the world?
Yeah, so I'm in full agreement with what Dr. Mohsin Wali has said. I think all the arguments that he has advanced, there is, huge circumstantial evidence which points the needle of suspicion definitely goes towards China. Now, there is, of course, you can discuss whether it was done intentionally, was it done purposely, was it done by accident? Now, as Dr. Mohsin Wali has said, one could take a more charitable argument that it was done unintentionally. Who would be sort of, so demonic in its intentions as to release this virus intentionally on the world? But, again, right now there are sort of, some questions that are coming to my mind. And I'm just speaking off the cuff because, what is said, this B1617.2 virus that has come to India, and we know the sort of catastrophe and the huge destruction, both health-wise and economically, it has caused here in India. Now, they say that it is because we got complacent, there was no mask, there was no safe distance. Is it only India that has got so complacent? What about, countries in our neighborhood? Have they been following all this masking policy? Have they been following all this, maintaining safe distances, etc., from each other? You see in both countries, to our neighborhood. And I don't want to sort of, cast any aspersions on them at all. No, that's not my intention. But you look at, in Pakistan, this Pakistan Democratic Movement, they are having thousands, tens of thousands of people who have been traveling, who have been protesting, who have been sort of, living together, staying together. What has been the impact? Definitely not as much as what has happened here. Similarly, you see on the eastern side in Bangladesh also, there have been so many protests for whatever reasons. But there also we do not see the virulence and the infectivity of the virus as much as we have seen in India. So in my mind, then that raises many questions. And so I would very strongly sort of, support that a detailed, open, transparent, impartial investigation needs to be gone into. And I commend better late than never, that the United States has come out with it. Of course, the report by these two scientists, they say they tried to get it published last year, but they were not, their report was not accepted. And I think that speaks very poorly on the scientific bend of mind, the scientific temper of these major publications, because that they are being fed a narrative and they would go, they would consume that narrative lock, stock and barrel. And it is, both WHO as well as China, they are doing it. But what about these independent magazines, Lancet and all the others? I'm sure Dr. Mohsin Wali knows much better about them than we in the lay field do. But, that raises also very many questions. And the last is, in terms of circumstantial evidence, that China would definitely not have behaved in such a hostile manner to any suggestion that you have an investigation. Now, coming to the second question very quickly, as you said, what needs to be done? I think the world really needs to get together, because the world has allowed China to have its own way for far too long. Anything that anyone suggests, like you look at what Australia suggested, let's have an investigation, they came down like a ton of bricks on Australia. We are going to stop your wine, we are going to stop your barley, your beef, no students, no tourists, nothing. And they sort of, even otherwise, they they tore up the relationship to shreds. So, and that was an example that was made out of Australia, that none of the other countries protested.
Yes.
Now I think is the time that there is increasing evidence, circumstantial or otherwise. And the last comment I'll make here is, I agree again with Dr. Mohsin Wali that we can expect many more reports of this nature.
Okay.
You would recall that, this intelligence report had come out also during Trump's time, but again, no one took it seriously. Now, these two have come out in succession, and I'm sure there has been research going on, and more such reports will come out, which will give much greater weight and heft to this argument that we need to go through this to the end and find out whether it was from a lab or it was from the
But the big question then, Pramit Chaudhary, is who will go through this till the end? Is it too much now to expect the WHO to get to the bottom of what caused this pandemic and the initial handling? We've seen the probe not amount to much. We've also seen how Australia was silenced in a way because of economic factors, is what Ambassador Sajjanal was referring to. Who then will get to the bottom of it? And is it time now for nations to resist economic pressure that China may try and mount to circumvent this probe?
Well, who will do the study will be very difficult. It's a very difficult question to ask, because the WHO, as you've mentioned, has already carried out one study. That study, several hundred pages long, dismissed the idea of a lab leak in a few pages. However, the WHO director, Tedros, has now come out and said that the lab leak theory should now be investigated. However, the WHO obviously now will face problems, because China will probably resist any such second analysis. And as the present paper we were discussing, the Sorensen-Daglish report, mentions, that a lot of the evidence has already been destroyed, that Chinese scientists, some of the scientists have even disappeared and are no longer publicly available anymore. A lot of the lab itself has been cleaned out. So finding out evidence now would be extraordinarily difficult. It's possible. You could, at least by doing mass sampling in Wuhan itself of Chinese who caught COVID, and then using genomic sequences, try to sort of at least get a pattern to point back to something that would have existed in the lab, even if we can't find it in the lab anymore. But as we know, China will almost certainly not allow that. So either it has to be done surreptitiously, or if China has done its own internal study, the game would then be for intelligence agencies or dissidents in China to see if they can leak such a study to the rest of the world. That has happened in the past in China. Dissidents released the Tiananmen Square papers, for example, and they used to release a lot of these documents against their own government in Hong Kong. But obviously now this will also be extremely difficult. Hong Kong has now become a restricted space, and this present Chinese government is even by Chinese standards unusually repressive and closed. However, having said that, we do now having what I think we're now seeing is, one, an acceptance that the lab leak theory cannot be dismissed. So you've seen the WHO director undermine his own report. We have seen the President Joe Biden saying that the U.S. intelligence has a report indicating, presented by a third country intelligence agency, saying that lab workers from that lab in Wuhan came down with COVID symptoms as early as November. This is very important because one of the missing links or pieces of evidence was, in fact, the idea of some of the people in the virology lab coming down with that illness early on. Every single previous recorded case of a lab leak, commercial or government-based, one of the indicators has been that the workers in that lab come down with that illness. So unsurprisingly, Biden has taken this seriously and asked the U.S. intelligence agency to give him a report in 90 days. And then finally, as was mentioned by the others, because it was originally the idea of a lab leak was not taken seriously, a lot of scientific papers were simply refused publication rights. And the President Dalglish Sorensen report was refused originally and is now getting a place. And I think this report is interesting because what it argues and what it does is that it actually went back and analyzed over a period of almost, I think, 7 years, all of the work produced by the Wuhan Virology Institute and showed a very clear pattern of them moving towards gain-of-function activities and test and development. In other words, carefully engineering a bat-originated coronavirus, whether for research purposes or otherwise, but clearly doing that type of activity. And pointing out that the kind of amino acid structure that we see in the COVID-19 for positively charged amino acids, for example, simply does not exist in nature. So therefore, something unusual took place to create the COVID-19. So I'm hoping now that so we say that the floodgates have opened. And we're now going to see more and more governments, scientists, institutions put out this argument that this is at least something that has to be analyzed. And bit by bit, we're hoping to get more and more information. A smoking gun will be difficult because the scene of the crime, if you wish, has been completely forensically cleansed. Will be denied, or we are almost certain will not be given.
That's what I was saying earlier. Is it too late? Is it too late? Has the cover-up already been done? Jyota Basu, quickly come in here on this report that we're talking about today on this debate, but two other instances which have happened today. One, something which has been referred to in your article in the front page of the Sunday Guardian today by Dr. PSV Rao, which we already have spoken about as well on another debate, but Jyota, you can also refer to that. And second, to the fact that now it's spreading in Vietnam as well. No surprise that there are no subsequent waves happening in China. Ambassador Sajjanar was talking about the subcontinent. And now it's spreading in Vietnam as well, a combination reportedly of the variant first found in India and the variant first found in the United Kingdom. What does all of this say, Jyota? And is it now becoming increasingly very difficult to deny the lab check?
Uday, when you look at the way this second wave is, happening, it is attacking only those countries where supply chains are moving away from China. In fact, I was just going through, I think a couple of days back, I was reading an article, a report in the South China Morning Post, where one of their analysts is saying that because of COVID, which is hitting India and Vietnam and all these countries, where supply chain was moving away, China can hope that these supply chains will be coming back. And they are talking about Foxconn and all, how they will not be able to operate in India. Frankly, I think this is blatant. This has been blatant. So obviously the question is that if you look at the trajectory of the way the pandemic has been behaving, the virus has been behaving for over 1 year now, did it attack Pakistan at all in the first wave? Barely. I think a few, not even a 2 lakh or 3 lakh cases in all. I think in the first wave. The second wave also very mild, nothing happening. And if you look at our neighboring countries, as Ambassador Sajjanar said, nothing is happening anywhere. It's only in India. It's only in the financial capital of the country. It is only the political capital of the country. It is only, in the business hubs. You go to different states, maybe say, for example, West Bengal, which had such a huge election rally thing. The cases are nowhere near what we are witnessing in places like Maharashtra or in Delhi, you see, and Delhi NCR and all. So what is going on? Something is very fishy. As a layperson, we can say, and we might as well say it. this is being talked about. This is not just being talked about in the country, internationally also. People who are interested in these matters, people who are following it, they are already raising questions about this second wave that is happening in India. It's very strange. Okay, and if I'm going to talk about, say, China, you see, I mean, we are being very charitable towards China by saying that we are, maybe it was a leak and it was not a deliberate, okay, even if it was a leak, the way it was spread across the world, the way it was allowed to spread across the world, that was deliberate.
Yeah.
Xi Jinping, while stopping domestic traffic, he allowed flights to go internationally to Europe and all. So, and he got away with it. And the worst part is, you see, the way the West in particular has been behaving for the last more than 1 year. Why is it that this China leak, this lab created virus thing, we are talking about it now?
Yeah.
Was it because Donald Trump was saying it is a China virus that the American media, the established, everybody started saying no?
So there is hypocrisy of the West at play as well, is what you're clearly saying. Okay, I'm going to have to leave it at that. We're completely out of time. My thanks to our guests for joining us on this debate. We'll be seeing how this pans out, and let's certainly hope for justice for all those who have lost their lives across the world due to